Welcome guys, today we have the fourth part of the big update that's coming. Today we'll be looking at two heroes into details, animations, skills. Also we have a demo replay of those heroes in Dota 2. So we have Io, which is a tier 3 hero with some unique abilities, which is a Primordial and a Druid. Secondly, we have the highlight for today, which is Faceless Void. Faceless Void is a tier 5 ace tier assassin. Faceless Void is a Primordial assassin. On top of everything of the skill kit, we'll be demonstrating how Faceless Void interacts in Dota 2 and get a taste of the Chrono Sphere. Of the Chrono Cube actually, not the sphere here. So, other than that, there's a new function which I'm super excited about, which will bring variety into the game. So it's a jail function which will be going through the game, and we'll discuss how this can be effective and how this adds another layer of entertainment and variability to everyday's game. Firstly, let's go back to Io. The new hero Io is a tier 3 unit, which is a Primordial Druid. This means Io is likely to be level 2 or level 3 super fast. This allows Io to use its ability little quicker than most other heroes in terms of the rounds. Io can be a level 2 even before round 10, and Io can be level 3 before round 20. Let's look at the first ability, Relocate. Io has two abilities, I know, right? Fancy new heroes with two abilities. Relocate is an active ability. Io will teleport away to revive a dead hero. Look at that. Io and the hero return with full health, and also none of the negative effects will stay on the hero. Let's say if the hero was doomed, the hero was stunned, anything like that will be removed. So you're back in full and none of the negative effects. Notice it doesn't say the positive effects. So if Io was to revive one of the Legion Commander, her positive effect would stay, her permanent damage would stay. Similarly, if Io was to revive a Savage, the damage effect is likely going to stay on the Savage unit. If it's a Bristleback, he's going to stack a lot of Curve Spray and a lot of damage. So those good things are going to stay with Io. Relocate is going to have a short delay, which we'll demonstrate very soon. After that is Tether. Io have a second spell, I know, right? Io tethers, which links with ally unit and pulls itself towards the ally. Io and the Tether unit gains attack speed and damage reduction. Tether will break if they move too far apart. So this is very similar to two of Io's abilities in Dota 2, which first ability allows Io to link. The second ability increases attack speed for both and damage reduction. Now let's have a look how Io interacts in Dota 2. Here we have Io in Dota 2. This is the hero model. The first spell is Tether. So let's look at Io tethers ally. After tethering, Io is likely going to have Overcharge activated, which allows the ally and Io to attack faster. Look at how fast his loaded attacks. Look at him, he's like pew pew pew. So he's attacking not that fast. Once we link him, he's going to attack much faster. Okay, that's perfect. The second part of the Io spell is Relocate. Notice here, Relocate have a casting time. I think similar to the Dota 2, Relocate is going to have a similar casting time in Underlords, which allows Io to take a little less time as he levels up and as he revives. Notice here it's a teleport. In Underlord, it will be a revive. Let's have a look how it works. Io can teleport by himself. So here we have casted, and 3 seconds later, Io teleports. And in Underlords, it's likely Io is going to teleport, then revive another location upon teleporting. So let's say if this ally dead over here. So what we're going to see is this dead ally, we're going to press Relocate, and Io is going to teleport to the ally's location with reviving both of the allies. Now that we have seen Io in action, let's think about the possible combinations we can use Io with. We can use Io for attack damage or attack speed, which most of the heroes can benefit from that because more attack speed means more mana gain. Io can also be offensive with units like Slug or PA, or Io can even boost up the survivability of a frontline tank. For example, a frontline tank like Train Protector, which is also a Druid, works perfectly with Io. The other units I can think of that benefits from attack speed can also be Savages like Lone Druid, which is also a Druid. Of course, there's almost limitless possibilities with a Revival, and the units that might benefit even further with this. Notice that it doesn't say the full health is full cooldown, so I can't think of Io reviving a Lone Druid and also, gives Lone Druid another bear. That will be a little too overpowered. So in a sense, Io is great in reviving higher stake or higher cost units. If you have a tier 2 unit which is 1 star, if you have a tier 1, tier 2 unit at 2 star, 1 star, it's not that worth it. So it's better to have you board with most of the 3 star or tier 4, tier 5 units. You can think IO as an advanced form of Ogre Mage. Ogre buffs a unit with attack speed. Here IO will buff attack speed and also reduce the damage the unit receives and also damage IO receives. And with the revive, let's see how many possibilities we can make out of IO. Next part, we have the start of today's show. We have Faceless Void, a tier 5 assassin. Faceless Void's ace ability allows the assassins to have a chance to dodge attacks and also spells. This is very scary because assassins can have elusive to dodge the physical attacks with Phantom Assassins and Templar Assassins. With Faceless Void, assassins now have a chance to dodge all spells. So we'll look into the hero model and interactions with Faceless Void into Dota 2 to see how he actually dodges spells. And after that, assassin always lacked a form of control. Because enemies tend to bulk up against assassins, they tend to run into a corner, and assassins can't get into the corner unless they can cast his spell, or unless a Tidehunter or Conk can cast their spell. But with Faceless Void, this can be very nice because he will be stunning all enemies, or all units actually, so keep that in mind. So allies and enemies will always be stunned inside of his cube because it's not like Chrono here. Faceless Void has increased movement speed and attack damage while in the cube. So within the cube, he's going to stun everyone for at least 3 seconds, I believe, and he's going to go ham at enemies and no one can fight back. Let's have a look exactly how those skills goes, then we'll go deeper into the theory crafting for Faceless Void. Here we have Faceless Void hero model. This is what Void looks like in Dota 2, and if you look into the Void passive, he has 25% backtrack. This is what happens when the alliance of assassins is going to be activated. All assassins is likely going to have at least 25% backtrack. Let's have a look at the animation of backtrack. If you notice here, you see a blur. With this blur, Faceless Void is backtracking the damage. How it works is you take damage, then the damage is healed back to you. But I believe if the damage is lethal, it will still kill the unit instead of healing it back. Let's say if I'm 1800 HP, if I take 2000 HP instantly, I will not be able to backtrack it. So there's no refund for the damage. But if I take anything less than my existing health, 25% are fully refunding the damage. So how my work is, you might see a Keeper of the Light casting a spell, then Faceless Void just tanks the spell and then fully revive or heals back to full life because it is a burst spell with a 25% chance of getting the health back because it is a magical spell. Also, we're also here to see the Chrono Sphere. What I'm going to show is, here it's called the Chrono Sphere because it's a round one. In Underlords it will be a cube. So notice here everything stays fixed and Void is the only one that can move, and units are basically stunned over here. And if you notice, the ally and Void is allies. So ally units and enemies are always stunned together under the Void, or under the Faceless Chrono. Notice units outside of it will not be stunned, and Void have bonus attack speed and also movement speed within the Chrono. So it's a very fancy spell. We'll try it again. Notice everyone's stunned and Void can go ham and he can reload, he can move around, he does a lot of damage. So if you look at the spell duration, it goes for 4.5 to 5 seconds. I'm not sure how long it is going to be in Underlord, but I'm assuming it's at least 3 seconds up to 5 seconds at 3-star maybe. Now if you imagine a 3-star assassin or 2-star assassin with really high base stats because it's a tier 5 unit and that's casting a Chrono Sphere onto the enemy units, it's going to be fancy because he's going to crit and he's going to backtrack if there's damage hitting him. And on top of that, it's just going to be controlling enemies for a long time, which is very fancy. So let's go back to theory crafting. Yes, you guys can tell that I'm super excited about Void as well, because I love to have ace tier units for different alliances, and having a Void for assassins means you're no longer rolling from 1 tier assassin to 4 tier assassins. You have a chance to get a Void, you'll be like, hey, that's my legendary, I like it. And on top of that, the backtrack gives assassins more survivability, which is great. Before it was the pocket sand and it feels a little underwhelming. So let's see how strong the backtrack is. And other than that, the Chrono Cube is going to be a great factor to stun enemies. because enemies always group up against assassins, and if they don't group up, we don't mind because we just kill everything. Let's think how we can make Void stronger, or how do we combine Void with other units. Imagine you have 6 assassins with a chance to backtrack to heal yourself for physical damage or magical damage. You have the Chrono Sphere, you have Legion Commander. Legion Commander will now have the Assassin Critical, Assassin's chance of reducing healing when it crits, and also the ability to backtrack. You can consider Legion Commander as a tank. But the downside is, she is going to be the only unit that's going to run forward, while assassins are going to be in the backline. It can be great, but I still prefer having units like Conquer or Tide as the frontline for assassins, or even 3-star Tiny. But if you were to run 3 assassins with Legion Commander, you can use the Ace of Void as one of your assassins, and maybe other assassins just to give her a little buff with critical hits and etc. because she hits so hard. And what else can we run with Void? Because he's a Primordial, we can consider going 2 Primordials, which we already have with Morphling. But if we go with 4 Primordials, we can consider Tiny, we can consider Enigma, which will also take us into Shamans if we go into Arc Warden. Could be interesting because you can proc items on Arc Warden like the Shiver's Guard or even the Bloodthorn for the late game. Now, the Void hero base is likely to have a decent stat similar to Troll Warlord and Sven, because he's a tier 5 unit with a little higher difficulty to find him as 3-star. To compensate that, most of the tier 5 units have higher stats. So we can expect some nice critical hits from Void, but usually we don't expect to find a 3-star Void. We expect to find a 1-star Void just for the ace and also for the stun, a 2-star Void for the damage, and also, for the better stun, better damage. After looking at the 2 units that's offered today, we now have 12 new units to be added to the pool of units. And if we know how Underlord works, or how most of the game mechanics works, let me show us over here. So, if we look over here, there are 45 units for tier 1 hero, 30 copies for tier 2, 25 for tier 3, 15 for tier 4, and 10 for the ace units. Because there's so many units in the pool of tier 1 up to tier 5, it's likely going to reduce the chance of the overall pool because it's diluting the number of units. And this is why there's a new system called Jail that's going to be released. So with adding 12 new heroes and none of the heroes are removed, what's going to happen is, won't this be harder to rank up or make higher star units? It will be harder to make a 3-star because the pool of units that's available coming into your shop will be just plagued with random units. But with the new Jail system, this not only locks up units that might be, so this may be taking units that may be not used by your build, and you can adjust accordingly to whatever's jailed for today. And then you can also focus on a build that is not affected by the jail. So this brings a form of dynamicness and also flexibility for everyday gameplay. Let's look at this system. Jail comes in every 24 hours, a number of heroes is removed from the pool. So the system makes sure when creating a list of heroes to ban, that alliance can still be complete. What do they mean by that is, notice here some of the alliance require more of the units, up to 6 units. So it's likely if a hero is going to be jailed, either it's not a part of the 6 alliance if there's no other heroes, or the alliance have more additional units. Like Primordials will have more than 4 units. So when Void or Razor is jailed, it's okay because you can still make the 4 Primordials. Similarly, you can make more than 6 humans and there's more than 6 Heartless. So because of that, there's less than 6 Heartless. Oh, what happened? So there will be more Heartless, with the Shadow Demon, and more Heartless with other ones. So what I'm trying to say is, they won't remove a hero if it's a critical hero for the 6 mage if there's no other mages available. If there's more than 6 mage, likely to remove one of them at random. Now with the jail system, it says 8 to 12 heroes are detained and cannot be hired or appear in the shop. Despite the absence, all alliance can still be fully functional. The little side note is the extradition imprisonment is a daily part of White Spire life, which is nice because the White Spire dudes are criminals and they're like the mafia bosses. So it's likely some of their little followers or dudes will be jailed into the prison. So which is very nice. And the note here is after the testing of the jail system, it brings a great variance because, hey, you don't see the same broken units every day because you'd be like, hey, where is OP? But then the critical units for Warriors are gone, like no Titantail, or no Doom. You're like, okay, maybe I don't play Warrior today. Or if you say, oh, mages are too broken, then Crystal Maiden's gone. Then no more mages for the rest of the day. You're like, today is a day for assassins because none of the assassins are jailed, which is nice. And also, it didn't change much of the rates because removing 8 to 12 and having 12 more units kind of balance it out. I'm super excited for what's to come tomorrow because they said there's be more patches tomorrow to come in the big update. I'm so happy with all the updates that's coming, and notice that they have said Season 1 has 12 new heroes, and we have already seen all 12 of them. So what we're expecting to see is we expect to see the co-op mode, the Underlords, the 4 new Underlords that's going to come, that's going to be reviewed, and maybe other parts like Dungeon Crawler that's going to be reviewed. So we're expecting to see the Underlords in action or just the different modes in action for tomorrow. Let me know in the comments below, guys, what do you think about demonstrating heroes in the Dota 2 mode to see the skills preview, to see how it might look like, and let me know what you can come up with a reviver, the first reviver in Underlords, and also, she said, yeah, is that a she or he? I always a druid. And after that, let me know what you think about combinations of the Ace tier with assassins. Which 6 assassins are you going to run? Are you going to go more than 6 assassins? And if so, which ones would you take to 3-star? In my book, it's usually Slug and Phantom Assassin to 3-star, but sometimes we go with Morphling and Queen of Pain to 3-star as well. And there's more reason to have Morphling because Void is also a primordial. Thank you so much for watching today's guide, guys. I'm very excited and I can't wait for the part 5 to come with new contents. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.